Hello. The next part, we're going to continue with the contracts, and then we'll move on to the next section. So, in the contract, there's going to be things you don't understand. I would suggest that you write out your question. Write it out, write it down, and email it to the company and ask, what does this mean? Or paraphrase it. Are you saying that if I break both of my legs, then that means I can't go to school, I'll get fired? But don't dwell on things. You know, you got the job, that's all you wanted. It's a real company, they're going to pay you. All right, and also, so in your contract, there's going to be, you know, they're going to talk about taxes, they're going to talk about what they want you to do, and what you can expect from the company. You know, the company will take care of your visa papers, they'll take care of you, or maybe they won't. It depends on the company. You know, some companies, bigger companies, well, it depends on the company. You know, some companies are big, huge, some are small, like 3 or 4 people working, a little staff or whatever. It really depends on your situation, but, you know, in general, the companies are they'll take care of you in the sense that as long as you are okay, you can work and then they can make their money. So, okay, take care of their product, basically. I don't mean to put it that way, but basically. All right, so now I want to end this section just with some more things about companies in general. Okay. Now, if you Google teaching in Japan, I'm sure you'll find many blogs about people who hate and people who had terrible experiences teaching English in Japan. People who, like, just a couple of years ago, Nova, the biggest eikaiwa, crashed and sent a lot of teachers, English teachers, home. You know, without their company, they didn't have a place to live. They didn't have money. They didn't have any. They were gone. You know, and that's a reality. And you know, it was a bankruptcy type of thing, and you could pretty much assume that the company knew that they were going to go bankrupt long before they went bankrupt. You know, and it wasn't like they told anybody. They didn't tell the teachers. By the way, in a couple of months, we're going to go public and we're going to lose our company and you're going to lose your job. You know, that kind of information would have saved a lot of people, a lot of teachers, a lot of families, a lot of students. A lot of people would have been, you know, in a better position if they had some information beforehand. But they didn't get that. And it's not just Nova. You know, a lot of companies, you know, you're just a teacher. You're like on the bottom of the totem pole. So you're going to find out things last. Like, for myself, last year, the company I was working with, you know, it's a small company, and we didn't have too many trouble. We didn't have any problems at all. The whole year went by, you know, we never bumped heads or anything. And, you know, by the end of the school year, I was like, well, not like 6 months around Christmas time. I'm like, hey, so, you know, I want to continue working with the company, if that's okay. Is that an option? You know, and they're like, well, we'll get back to you on that one. So then it was December, January, February. Well, we'll say January. We'll say March. All right. I say, hey, I'm really interested in working with the company. Is that an option? They're like, we don't know. Well, we didn't start our hiring process yet, so let us get back to you on that one. Okay. February. Now, my contract for the school ended February 20th or something like that. So, you know, it comes down February 19th. I say goodbye to my school. Goodbye, people. And I ask the company, so what's up? Am I going to get hired again, or do I have to go back out there and do the hiring process, the interview and all that? They're like, well, we can't tell you that right now, but you should go looking for another job. Okay. So I'm looking for other jobs, other jobs, other jobs. I'm doing that. And it wouldn't be until like, I don't know, 8 months later. Well, not 8 months, but a while, some time has passed, and I'm talking to this guy I just met. He's working at my new company. And I'm like, where'd you work before? He's like, oh, I worked for company ABC. I'm like, yeah, I worked for ABC too. And he's like, did you know they went out of business? I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, they went out of business. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's why they couldn't hire me. But, you know, if I had all my eggs in that basket, you know, that would have been one basket full of eggs that would have been over there, being over there still. So that's the company. That I don't know. I'm just putting this out there. Use it if you can, or pass it along, whatever. But the company, these companies are not your friend. They're not in the business to help you be comfortable to come to Japan. They are a business. They're there to make money. You will assist them in making money. When you can't make them, when you can't make their money for them, then you're gone. That's the reality. I mean, that's kind of bleak. But as long as you do your thing, you can, you know, as long as you go to school, you do your job, you wake up, you leave, you receive your paycheck, and then you're free to do whatever you want outside of teaching. You know, you can go party, you can go music, you can chill in Akihabara, you can play games, you can blog all day long, you know, but, you know, separate. So I just want to put that out there so you kind of at least know what's going on. Also, with the interview process, with the emails and all that, some companies are, as I said, they're not your friends. So they might tell you, okay, you're hired on Monday, and on Tuesday, they will hire somebody else for your position. And on Wednesday, when you call, like, hey, I didn't receive the email, they will tell you, well, that's because we hired someone else. That I know it happens because it happened to me, you know. Or you can be in a situation where you worked very hard all year long to build relationships with your school, your students, the area. You worked hard. You did so much work above and beyond just to have it all go bye-bye at the end of the school year when they, A, don't hire you back because, you know, they don't have enough contracts and you just happen to be on that side, or B, the school doesn't like you, or C, they don't have enough money to keep the company that hired you, so they have to go with a cheaper company, which means you have to leave the school. And that's it. I mean, I have seen teachers draw elaborate games. They made all this stuff, all this detailed games to play with their kids, just to have it all end the minute that they leave. You know, the saga doesn't continue. You know, if it was a trilogy, you know, if your life was a trilogy, you know, there would only be one chapter, you know, so you come. It was Lord of the Rings, right? So if your teaching was like Lord of the Rings, it kind of be like you get the ring, and then you put on the ring, you know it's bad, it's time to go throw it in the volcano, and you're like getting up there, and you got your little friends, and you're doing all this, and arrows, and little bearded men, and you get to the end of the year, the end of the contract, end of the show, end. Now, instead of going to part 2 of Lord of the Rings, they put you on Matrix part 1. And you got to start all over on a different journey. You know, and that's a reality. So don't enjoy the now. You know, you're here. You didn't come to Japan to be stuck at that school or that company or that situation. You know, you're in Japan. There's so many things to do here. So many places to go. And I just don't want you to dwell on these things. So if you're in Japan now and you're teaching, just be aware that at the end of the year, it's possible that you might not be teaching at that company. And if you're abroad, just kind of get in your head that, you're expendable. And once you get all those thoughts out of your head, then Japan is a playground. Teaching is the icing on the cake. I mean, I worked at Walmart before. I worked at Walmart, worked at McDonald's, I worked at a lot of these other places that are not so cool. I'm in Japan. When I leave work, I smell the trees. I see the birds. I see some birds, if you know what I mean. And I'm just happy to be here. I have too much exciting things to really hold me down. So usually I tell people, or I tell myself, go to sleep, sleep it off, wake up, and start all over. Reset, restart. All right, so I hope that I helped, or at least gave you another perspective to teaching in Japan. I know there's many people out there, writing books and blogging, and I think it's great that there's so many different sources of information, and it's free. Well, some of it's free, some of it you gotta pay, but it's out there. So if you want it, there it is. And really, there's no excuse for you not to know when it's there. So, in the next time, I think I'm going to talk more about specific things, cell phones or teaching. Maybe I'll talk about that. Anyway, all right, so good luck. Godspeed.